Hey everybody. This week I would like to talk about finishing. I probably mentioned this before, but I am a runner. And every year I usually enter 2 or 3 races, mainly so that I can make myself train and feel like, I'm actually working toward a goal because I'm pretty goal oriented. But finishing is important. And I remember the first race that I was in, it was a 10K, and I thought I would never get to the finish line. But there were these people who were so cruel, and they were like, I don't know, several blocks from the finish line, and they're like, "Yeah, it's just right over the hill. It's just right over the hill." So I got over the hill, and it's like it's not there. But I knew that it was coming, and it is important that we always keep that in mind because in a race, what you don't do is look behind you. I don't know if you've ever tried to run and look behind you, but it's not a good combination. In fact, it can lead you to fall. And so even when I hear footsteps coming up behind me, I might move over to the side if I can, but I don't look behind me. And I think that's a good rule for people to have in general. So, for instance, if you are going through some sort of challenge, if you've got a problem that's in front of you right now, but there's going to be an end, there's always an end. And I wanted to share something that our pastor wrote. He's published a little book a few months ago, and it's full of all sorts of little wisdom nuggets, and I thought I would share one with you today, which I really like. And it says, the finish line is ahead. Remember that. It's always in front of you. It always is. Quit wondering why you don't see it yet. It's still in front of you. Why look back if you're not going that way? And if you're like me, you've probably been in stores and you've seen these little things that sit on like a mantle or a table and it says, "Why are you looking back? You're not going that way." This is very true, and it is something that you should always keep in mind. Sometimes we're in the middle of a trial. We look at it and think, I have no idea how this is going to end, but it has to end. Always be positive about it. Even when I'm in a race and I am just tired and I'm thinking, I just want to see the finish line. If somebody who I think is in my age group especially runs past me, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. And so I kick it up a notch. It's amazing that even when your mind is telling you you don't have anything left, you always do. And remember that God has said that if you're his child, he's never going to allow you to be tested beyond your limits. He's never going, and that means he's always provided a way out for you. And always pray and ask for that way out. How do I get out of this situation? What do I do about this? Because we're not on our own. And he doesn't want us looking back. I always think about the Apostle Paul, who grew up in rarefied air. He was a Pharisee. He was brought up to be one. He was separated, and he followed all the rules and everything. But after his encounter with Jesus, he threw all that away. And he said, I count that as basically dirt or garbage compared to what I am now. That was a lot because, he threw away his family too, and his friends, everyone who knew him. He basically said, that was before, this is now. I am looking at the finish line. And he always talks about that, right? About how to look forward, don't look behind you, that a runner never does that. And in a real sense, we're running a race. And each of us has our own race to run. We're not competing. It's not like when I'm in a race and I'm actually kind of running against other people. In general, runners are actually competing against themselves. We're just running against the clock. But when we're looking at running our race that we have here as Christians, we all have a different race. Mine looks different from yours. Yours looks different from your friends or your families, or maybe, your daughters or your sons or your husbands. They're all different. They may intersect in some places, and that's wonderful when that happens because then you have friends and you have people who have an understanding of what it is that you're going through and what you're doing because they've been there before, and I have too. And so I just want to encourage you this week, if you're in the middle of something, don't look back. Don't be like the Israelites when they came out of Egypt, who were like, yeah, but if we were back there, man, we would have food and stuff and it was better. No, no, and no. It was not. And because of that grumbling, they wandered around the desert for 40 years. And you don't want to do that. So, what I'm encouraging you to do is simply keep your eyes on the finish line. It is there, even if you can't see it. It is there. And once you see the finish line, just know I'm in the last part of this. And I have turned the corner and I am heading for the finish line and I'm going to finish this thing. And it will be done. But looking back only slows you down. So this week I want to encourage you, if you have a habit of looking back, stop it. Just don't do that. Instead, force yourself to say, I see the end. I'm at the end. I'm going to finish this thing and I'm going to be done with it. Just be resolute about it. Just be determined. Don't look back. Always look forward, because that's where you're going. So, hope that was helpful this week. You guys have a great week. Be blessed.